Maybe it's me. Is there audio now?
Test,
Hello?
test, test.
Can people hear us?
Hello, hello,
Hello, hello, hello. Maybe.
Audio go.
There we go. Audio's there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Nice.
All right.
we have
So-
about a 20-second delay here. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
And we have audio.
we can hear. I hear.
Wel-
Yes.
Welcome to our stream of audio.
Now we see all the comments. Okay.
Audio is for pro subscribers only.
Definitely.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Does everybody wear their Christmas sweaters?
This is I can't. Yeah, look at
Martin,
Martin's
you
is
have
the
to
most.
stand up and show the
Is,
Christmas sweater, please.
yeah,
Or
Martin's is.
are you already standing? Then you have to jump.
Oh yes. Nice one.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Gotta give the full experience.
Enough of that. That is very un-Christmassy. Jump in front of the camera or something.
Okay. All right. It is 8:03, so I think we waited a little bit at least for people to get here, and they can catch up if they arrive even later. But basically, hi, I'm Nick. This is the Prosperous Universe holiday stream. It's been a while since you guys have heard from us, so we just thought this would be a good opportunity to connect with the players again and wish you all happy holidays and hope you're doing well and staying safe. Just in case this is your first time or you don't really know who we are, I'm Nick. I'm marketing and PR for Prosperous Universe. Martin, can you wave your hand? There's Martin. He's the creator. Okay. And Michi over there in the blue.
Okay.
Whatever you want to be called. I never know exactly what your title is. It's like whatever you feel like for the day.
Mine.
No, Martin.
Oh, good. Oh, Martin.
My title.
Boss.
Okay.
Boss man.
Create.
Boss
Boss
man.
man, creator,
Boss man.
creator /
Appropriate.
everything.
That, by the way, Lena, was a Xbox reference.
Okay. I'm taking notes.
Okay.
I was about to say, we refer to Mope as God, but or Lord. I don't know.
The Lord.
That is you people.
Yes.
We have flat hierarchies.
So yes, Michi is our developer, and then we have our new person on the team. There's Lena, and she's a community manager for Airline Sim, as well as probably helping out with Prosperous Universe too. And then there's somebody here that you guys might know. There's Saganaki. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming on.
Glad to be here.
Great.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so to start us off, I'm going to pass it over to Martin, and he's going to, just reflect on 2021.
Oh, reflect. Yes. Let me get my nondescript beverage and reminisce a bit about the past. I have what? Michi, I have 5 minutes, right? Is it?
You can talk for 20.
Okay. Well, that's all right.
5 minutes. I'm not sure if
Kinda
5
that
minutes
would be
will be
tricky.
enough.
Okay, guys. So I'll try to keep it short. So if you might remember that in February, I think I did a bit of a State of the Universe address. I think, which is the thing that scares Michi because it was half an hour me rambling. So this time I'm going to keep it a bit shorter. So I just want to use this opportunity, this rare opportunity for us, of us kind of talking to you directly, to kind of talk a little bit about what we've been up to this year, where we stand, and kind of what our immediate plans are for the project. I mean, we can internally, and I think we also mentioned it to the community a few times. This year we themed the Year of Fate for Prosperous Universe, because we're really at this point where we had to. I mean, maybe as a bit of context, Michi and I, we started working on this in 2015, 2016. So this is by, like, if you look at it, it's not really a young project anymore. It's been around for quite some time. And we always said that this year has to be the year that Prosperous Universe actually proves that it can actually sustain itself, and that it actually makes sense for us to pour time and money and resources into this project to keep it going. And as you can probably imagine, and as you can see, the game is still around. I'll be perfectly honest, we're not drowning in money because of Prosperous Universe, that's for sure. And it's also not, if we were as strict with our calculations as most players of Prosperous Universe probably are, it's not a successful project yet. But that said, everyone in the team really is on the same page in that we say we want to continue doing it. So this maybe the first thing that I want to get out there and that I want to say is that Prosperous Universe is basically here to stay.
Yes.
Michi hears that for the first time, right? It's like, oh,
What a surprise.
Thanks, Bozeman. No, and so this is kind of the first and most important bit. But obviously, all of this kind of comes with a little string attached. I mean, as you might know, we had this big funding project that came to an end this year, the result of which was us releasing the mobile interface. And while we were not able to sustain the full team size that we had during that project, we can sustain the current team that we have, but we have to grow further to really make sure that we're not slowly but surely running out of money. So we have, in fact, picked up a new funding project. You might have heard about it. So over at our other project, Airline Sim, we're now having a funding project. Don't type so loud.
I'm sorry, it's you, not me.
Right. Anyway, see, that's my team. That's the people I have to work with. Unbearable.
Typing over you.
People with loud keyboards, I don't know.
That's
Anyway,
going in the meeting room, right?
Oh yeah, it's a meeting. Anyway, I'm off. Oh yeah, Airline Sim. There we were. Okay, so we do have another new funding project for our old game Airline Sim, because Airline Sim is a very important project to us, and it's one of the big pillars that the company rests on. And we decided it needs some love, it needs some perspective. So we're working on a new project there. Or rather, it's me working on that, and of course Fabian, who's not here today because he's on vacation already. The two of us are primarily working on that. And of course, next year, Lena is also going to jump on board there. But so that's kind of the string attached to the whole Prosperous Universe is here to stay good news. That we kind of had to reduce the capacity that we use for Prosperous Universe a little bit. Now everyone who's around for Prosperous Universe knows that we're not the fastest developers to begin with. So this might feel a bit slow going forward, but that's just kind of how it is. We're here to stay, but it's going to go a bit slower. Unless, of course, we are going to meet our targets that we kind of, or goals that we have set for ourselves, and that is kind of increasing revenue by some extent. So the primary and most immediate goal that we have for Prosperous Universe right now is kind of to continue what we have done this year, where we focused a lot on mobile UI is one thing, of course. It extends the reach of the game to some extent. Then, of course, we have added new tutorials to the game. We're going to continue to work on making entry into the game easier, so there's more stuff in the pipeline for that. There is a big project that we've been hinting at for quite some time that we're going to talk about in a second, that is also primarily geared at getting more players into the game, generating more revenue. So this is what we're working on right now and what we're going to work on for, I don't want to say the foreseeable future because that is quite a lot of time, but in the immediate future we're going to focus on that before Michi and Fabian are going to switch back to doing actual feature development. Which is not to say that we're not going to do any feature development. Obviously there is going to be the occasional maintenance patch, there is going to be smaller improvements that I'm pretty sure Michi is going to talk about later as well. So that is kind of the boiled down version of the state of the Prosperous Universe, so to speak. Or did I miss anything important?
No, that's about it, I think.
I would say so too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the year has all about getting new players in and keeping existing players in the game.
Okay, so we've been keeping the suspense for a while about what our new project is. Should we? What?
Sorry, I'm not being helpful here. You go ahead. Nick.
Yeah. So are we okay with going ahead and revealing what it is?
I don't know. Could anything break when we do it?
Or no?
I don't think.
Let's find
I
out.
don't
I guess.
think so. So we're doing an NFT crypto scheme. Now it's
Yes, that's
Yes. Off our chest.
out. Wasn't that hard? Was it?
you can buy your tokens now in all the exchanges that you like. So it's switching the switch right now, flipping the switch right now. All right, that was it. Thanks
Blockchain mining.
Good night, everyone.
Yes, bye.
Merry
Was
Christmas.
a good one.
No.
Yes.
No, because I'm joking. Nick, go ahead, please.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm the best person to announce it, but I will. So we are putting Prosperous Universe on Steam. So if you go to Steam right now, you can actually look up Prosperous Universe and we should appear. You should see our coming soon page, which is really great. I worked a lot on that page. So if you like it or you don't like it, please let me know. And that would be really helpful for me. But yeah, I hope you guys are excited. You can also wish list our game, which would also help us a lot with the good old algorithm and everything. So we really would appreciate that as well if you wish listed Prosperous Universe on Steam. But yeah, does anyone else have any comments about what we hope Steam will do for us? I mean, Martin's already really alluded to it already, but yeah, Steam, Prosperous Universe, go.
I mean, it's maybe not the most obvious, the most intuitive thing, I guess, to many, why we would do this, but we thought long and hard about it, and we talked to other game developers, and even though Prosperous Universe most likely isn't the perfect fit for Steam, it being a browser-based business simulation game, we kind of accepted that it is very, very likely that Steam is just going to give us an influx of new players essentially for free. I mean, it's not the olden days where you basically put a game on Steam and suddenly there's the players. That's not how it works anymore by any stretch. But at the same time, Prosperous Universe is a bit of a gem, I would, if I may call it that myself. It is it's not some shovelware or some asset flip or whatever that gets uploaded to Steam 100 times a day. It is something special, and I'm pretty sure there is an audience for it. And the chances of someone who's interested in that kind of game finding us through Steam are pretty high, in my opinion. So that was kind of the reasoning behind us pursuing that avenue. And yeah, I mean that's now that I say it out loud, it kind of makes sense, right? We didn't do it for fun. We're not doing it for fun. We're not done yet. But maybe Michi can talk about that a little bit, about what this entails actually.
People are excited about achievements.
Yeah, so true.
And that is coming. So yes, get excited.
Yeah, so Prodigy is right. He's saying the development is now picking up steam. That's true. I've been working together with Martin on the Steam release for quite some time now, and yeah, well, Steam is Steam. I don't know if you have ever talked with the developers about Steam. They have quite an old API, and working with Steam is a bit troublesome. It's not in the new world we are used in web development, but it works. We're slowly making progress. We will integrate the account system with Steam, so you can. Maybe that's the most important part. If you want to play Prosperous Universe without Steam, you still can do. You go to the website, you play the game, and there you go. But you also, if you like that better, you can download the game on Steam and play it from there. Yeah. So as always, we won't make any. We won't say when it's done, because right now it's not very clear. But let's say somewhere in the first half of next year, we will be able to release the game on Steam.
Yeah, and I would hope we're not using that deadline. So
No.
I'm hopeful that we're gonna get it done before June of 2022. But yes.
Yeah, and the Steam release is the last, or maybe one of the biggest, of course, but one of the last milestones in our player acquisition crusade, so to speak. And after that, I will continue working, as Martin said earlier, on game design topics, on new features. And if you followed our devlogs this year, we have been talking about the infrastructure update and the politics update for quite a while and quite often. And it's almost done from a game design perspective, and it just lacks implementation. And after Steam is done, I'll start working on that.
Just likes development. It's like
Yeah.
final remaining detail to be finished.
Okay, so there's a question from Let's Go to you. That's Gravy, right? No, I don't remember. Anyways, will there be a desktop client? Yes, there will be a desktop client. It doesn't work any other way with Steam. You have to have a downloadable executable. And basically what we do is we wrap the game in a browser that's basically just a Chromium, and on your PC you just start it, and it has that one website that it displays. So it works basically exactly the same as if you would play it in a browser, except that you have all the Steam things going on, like achievements and whatnot. Friends list and
not the overlay though.
So, not the overlay. The overlay does not work. Yeah, we found that out the hard way.
Someone asked about the two different versions. Can a player from a Steam switch to a browser version, or are the accounts not synced?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's still one universe. We're not splitting up the universe for any non-important reasons. There are a few restrictions. So if you come to the game from Steam, or while you're playing the game, or while you're accessing the game from Steam, you're kind of living in a bit of a bubble, because you don't have the regular account management and stuff, and all your payments, of course, have to go through Steam. So if you want to do us a favor, then maybe do not buy your Pro subscription through Steam, but through the web interface, because that kind of increases our margin by quite a bit. So this is kind of the obvious downside to Steam. So you will expect to find quite a few new players through this channel, but they will have to use Steam for payment, and everyone knows Steam takes their 30% cut. I think for small studios it's less these days, but that's the general downside of Steam, I guess. But besides that, so if you start up the game in Steam and you already have an account, then we will most likely, even on the first release, we'll offer you the option to connect your existing account. So that you can basically just pick whatever works best for you.
That is how it's accomplished with many other games of this type. You rep Chromium, or you put Chromium as the executable, and then it launches the website, and the normal stuff is there. So it'll be no different than using it on your browser, probably with the exception of extensions such as the FIO extension will not be compatible with it.
Yeah.
Good point.
Someone asks if they can run the Steam Prosperous Universe on their fridge.
Steam? No.
Yeah. But the Steam one maybe not, but the regular one runs on every fridge there is.
On all
So you can have a
fridges,
story
every
about
single
that.
one.
Pretty much.
That sounds good.
I love the Nintendo Switch's Opera browser as well.
Oh yeah.
That one got a
Actually,
chuckle
I've
from
never
me.
tried Prosperous Universe in Opera.
Is the opera still around? Is that still a
I'm
thing?
not sure. Is that still?
I'm not sure either.
Maybe on
mean,
Nintendo
Internet
Switch,
Explorer is still
it
around.
probably is. I don't know.
Wait, how did I just pronounce Fio? Yes, that's how I pronounce it.
See, that's that's the beauty of a live stream, right? Suddenly you see things, you hear things. You hear.
I mean, if you want the true answer to how I pronounce Fio, I asked Baba Moore specifically how he pronounces it, and I did the opposite. That's how I determined the name. Yeah.
I see. How do you pronounce Bobamore? So I would probably emphasize the bow at the beginning. Bobamore. I don't know.
I call him Bob, so I just...
Yeah, good point. Yes. Hey Bob, how's it going?
Prune on Switch confirmed. Switchport. Okay, so we've got Saganagi talking. So let's get into some Saganagi stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So you are the, how do we phrase this? So the creator of the UFO Discord. So we want to ask you some stuff about
UFO Discord.
Yeah,
yes.
the UFO.
Sure.
So can you tell us what is the UFO and what was the motivation for UFO?
So I wasn't the initial creator. So there were a group of us that, I'm going to call this the dark times of Prune Discord, but effectively there were, I think at one point I had a total of 19 separate Discord servers I was a part of specifically for Prosperous Universe. So there were a bunch of us, Pieboy, Bob, I'm trying to think who else, like just Gladdy was one of them, Prodigy was one of them, Rubikid, just a bunch of people that we got together and we were kind of fed up with the whole disjointedness, because what would end up happening is you'd have to join 20 servers to ask a question. So the idea of the Unified Faction Operations Discord server was born. The idea being everything is opt-in. So there's channels per planet and per faction, and then you can join and leave the channels as you see fit. That sort of thing. Oh, Slums. Slums was another one. Yeah, Slums was the major one. I apologize. Somebody mentioned that in the chat. Okay, they're still typing
Yes,
it.
everyone's correcting you now.
But yeah, so that was the initial intent. Basically, I did the majority of the work on the bot there, and mainly because I'm kind of the most suited to do so. How do we pronounce Slomes? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just going to do Slomes.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's how.
But yeah, I mean, that was the initial intent. It wasn't just me. It was a kind of a community effort, and we set down some rules. I'm by no means in charge. I mean, I'm a moderator there. I can edit channels, but everything is accessible, and anyone can see what the administrators do. So it's very transparent.
Yeah, I love the idea. And I was quite happy to see that when you started out, lots of corporations joined into the effort and moved over. Can you talk a bit about how many corporations and regional Discords joined and how many users you have right now? Or members?
As far as how many, so most corporations still have their own Discord because that's just out of necessity. You need a private Discord, and that's perfectly fine. We're not aiming to. The goal wasn't to remove corporation Discords, but the Unified Faction Operations server did basically collapse other servers, not collapse, but deprecate all other servers that were regions. So, for example, there was an entire Proxyon, the planet server. There was the Castillo region. There was Antares. if that's how you pronounce it, Terry's. Montum's, there were some Planet ones. Like, I think there were a total of 9 servers that were thrown out. The Prune Logistics server was another one that we collapsed in. So there were just numerous servers that we kind of put in there, and everything is opt-in, so it's kind of well organized and less noisy than previous servers. As far as how many members, let me see if I can track that down. 1 second.
This is a side note, like this live stream is very heavily focused on pronunciation this time.
It's very important.
Recurring theme here of how to pronounce this for different things.
Yeah, I call it Prune. I apologize. Prosperous Universe.
No problem, it's fine.
We call it Prune too,
as well.
so you heard it
Gotcha.
from the source.
As far as how many members, as of right now, we have 657 members. Some of those may be duplicates or no longer around, but
Sure.
that's the count.
That's good.
Pretty great, yeah.
Someone says Saganaki for president.
Oh, that's Prodigy.
Are you planning on running?
No. Yeah, so somebody mentioned UFO isn't perfect. And I mean, it'll never be perfect. For example, one thing we're running into now that I wasn't aware was an issue is there's a 500 channel and category limit, and we are reaching that with the sheer number of planets that are being settled. Because the bot will scan FIO data, and if the planet was settled, it will create a channel and a category for that planet. So now we're rapidly approaching that. So we're trying to solve that problem, or there's a few proposals that are in the works for that.
Should I delete a few planets?
I mean, if you want to get rid of Montum, by all means.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking a note.
Valis too, if you can.
Valis. Not Valis.
I mean, if you had to delete one planet, it would always be.
Well, I mean Katoa. That's true. We have to get rid of Katoa.
Yeah, I was
Poor
kind of
Katoa.
surprised to not hear that first on the list. I mean, even I, as the high level executive that I am these days, know about the Katoa meme.
Quarantine? Yeah.
Quarantine.
Not because there's any disease, just because we don't want it to influence the rest of the galaxy.
I see. Okay, so next.
Yeah. I have another question for Saganaki.
Sure.
Could you just share with how you got into Prosperous Universe, how you found it, what was your initial just first reaction to, or who you heard it from, or whatever your story is?
I don't actually remember how I first came across it. All I do remember is when I came across it, because this is how all games for me are, is I will mention it to Kovis. He's another member of the community, and if we both agree about it, about a game, we'll both opt in, because I'm a huge fan of cooperative games. I'm not into adversarial games. So I mentioned it to him. He was interested. We dove in, and then we got some other friends involved, and we dove into that. And I think my earliest memory is actually this is before shipping ads, but was doing some shipping for Prodigy, where I would move hydrogen from one planet and then take fuel back to Prometor, I believe. And I had a whole shipping route with him, and we would do the whole buy-sell thing. Yeah, that was a super early memory there. This was last university.
Yeah, has to be. Given that Prodigy is now the MG president of the world. Universe.
He's the market maker.
Yeah, basically the market maker, yeah. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing that. Do you have some questions for us?
Yeah, I guess one thing that's always kind of bothered me is what is the lore on the Icarus shipyards for the starter ships? I know that's the entity that creates our ships. Is there any lore involved there?
Michi, you have to answer that. I mean,
I know, and I thought about an answer. I heard the question before, and really I don't have any answer. There's no written law. We don't have any wiki article about Icarus shipyards or so. But in my head, how I imagine it is that the different factions sent their colony ships away, and they communicated via the Apex system. And of course, they left everything behind that the Sol system had, and of course also the capability to create ships, all the shipyards. And during their journey, they kind of, since they are cooperative, they set up a joint effort to create shipyards and like design a very basic ship that they can produce very easily and hand out to new starting companies, and that are the Icarus shipyards basically. So you can see it as a combined effort of all the factions in the game to provide ships.
Very cool. I guess my next question is like, how quickly did you have to come up with that just now? Did you just make that up off the fly, or?
No, Nick sent me the question this afternoon, so I had some time to think about it. But that's not the first time I thought about it, so
fair enough.
Perfectly.
So I am a software developer, and for those in the community that don't know, I've been doing this for 15 years. I'm actually a game dev, so I guess this kind of question hits close to home. What is something that has gone like what is the one feature or thing that you've had to track down in development that has gone awry? I guess that has gone the most awry, I guess. I know what Martin's is. He's got to plunge the queue every couple days.
That's just annoying. That's relying on some library that does weird stuff in once every 2 weeks, which is extremely hard to track down, which is just frustrating and annoying. But I mean, I just talked to Michi like 1 or 2 days ago, and I said the easiest way to fix this would be to just reboot the respective actor every 10 minutes and everything would be fine. No one would notice anything. But it's against my sense of honor. Like I don't want to do that. I might do it soon because the holidays are coming up, and there is a good chance that there's no one going to be there to handhold the servers for 3 days or so. So it would be good to not have that problem. But I wouldn't call that one of the biggest things that went wrong. I mean, we do have a few scalability issues. We have certain things that we were aware of years ago, really, and we always pushed out because we always said, yeah, those are nice problems to have when we actually have them, right? We have enough players, or the universe is big enough, we deal with these problems when we have them. And that might not have been the smartest move. Like, we should maybe have been a bit more conservative there and kind of build for that. So this is also something that we have to tackle before Steam goes live, actually. So there is a few things that we just have to fix and clean up before we can take a huge... I mean, we always joke inside the team, when Steam goes live, there's just a massive influx of players. Like, there's going to be revenue, money all around. It's just going to be crazy. Tens of thousands of players. I hope you hear the sarcasm here. But anyway, even if it just I don't know, increases our player numbers by 50% or something, and we're most certainly going to run into issues, especially in an older universe. So I would say that is probably one of the biggest issues that we have. Or would you see something else, Michi?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, it's easy to see that we have some performance problems right now, and they're basically rooted in how our application works, or how the backend works, basically. So Just a quick reminder, I think we tell the story quite often, but we do have an actor system with events in the background. So for example, a company is an actor, and every company stores a list of events, and that's a different design that most people are used to. Usually they just have a relational database, and one entity is one line in that database, and if it changes, you change just that one line in the database. What we do is we keep a record of all the events that happen. For example, you started a company, you set up a production line and stuff like that. And of course, these events pile up, and that kind of creates some performance issues, and we are very well aware of them. For example, if you have hydration timeouts, then usually that means a node restarted, and because of the millions of events we have to read and before an entity can go live again, it just takes some time, and during that time it won't respond, and that's basically what a hydration timeout is. And if we restart a service right now, for example, because of the clock pipes of the queue system that doesn't work, it can take up to 15 minutes until all of the actors are being loaded, and of course that's not acceptable. And we already are working on a mitigation.
Working on a mitigation sounds like we're kind of hot fixing something, but that's what I meant earlier.
Yeah.
It's something that we knew about years ago, and there is a very easy fix, which is called snapshotting. So what we do is every I don't know 10,000 events or something, you take a snapshot, and then this stuff becomes really a non-issue. But we wanted to avoid having to write the second version of serialization while the game is so much in flux. So that's why we don't have snapshotting yet. But the thing is, we have been working on this for several years now, so we have a lot of stuff that needs to get snapshotted, and you have to be extra careful to do the serialization right, to not mess up how you serialize stuff, because then suddenly you might end up with a really, really annoying bugs. So that's kind of the problem here.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And you cannot change the events. If you change the events, then loading the history of an actor will just lead to unexpected behavior. And that's what keeping me up at night before a big release. And I go over the source code again to just make sure that we don't mess around with the events by accident. Yeah, Martin can tell a story about that. Usually before big releases, I'm always telling him, I'm so insecure. We have to double check and make sure everything is fine.
So glad your next release is basically front-end stuff only.
Yeah.
So nothing of that sort can happen.
Famous last words.
Yeah. It's all nice, and it's all nice in theory with these events, right? Because the whole point of having events is that you can roll back to a point in the past if something went wrong. But I mean, that breaks down quickly, like, because these entities interact, and if you have one event log for one actor, it doesn't exist in isolation from the rest of the universe. So
I guess if people want if people want kind of an example of what Martin's referring to, why it's so difficult, is imagine a contract in the game with like 100 dependencies or 100 items, and then you can't just roll back one set because that might depend on another dependency.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a fulfillment needs to happen first, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's the difficulty that is involved here.
Yeah. And that,
Very
that
familiar
happens.
with the problem.
And that happens across a lot of different entities. So, and then it essentially becomes impossible to use this rollback functionality. I mean, it exists for debugging purposes, so it's nice to kind of see the history and see what happened. But the rollback aspect is kind of theoretical in nature.
Right.
And then we have to say that. I mean, what's kind of fascinating, I have to say this right now because we're talking about it, but it's really actually quite fascinating that this stuff really works comparatively well. Like, I mean, we have actors that have hundreds of thousands of events, or millions even, I don't know where we are right now.
Hello, Rubicate, we're talking about your company.
Yeah, basically. And it still works. Like it's this whole stuff is super optimized, and there are definitely that there are advantages to this approach, but it is quite, different.
Yep. I mean, it's not unusual to do that in various games. I mean, I've done it before personally, so yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. There's a question for me and Lena. Someone George asked, "What's a feature you would most like to see added to the game?" I'll go first. I don't know if anyone's going to be excited about mine, but I would love for the UI and just stuff to get updated and look a little prettier and cleaner, and maybe some I don't know, some kind of robot or something to like pop up and just say hi. No, that's
you want an Apex Clippy, is that what you're saying?
yeah. I want a little hologram or
happen.
something. No, like I don't. It doesn't have to be that, but some kind of graphical update would be so nice, just for marketing purposes and also just for my own enjoyment, I think. But yeah, like I mean, once you work in marketing, you realize like how much visuals really matter, capturing someone's attention, and you know. I'm sure you probably are aware if you've ever tried to show it off to a friend or something and people are like, that's not a game, that's a spreadsheet or that's a database or whatever. So, you know, just kind of try to appeal a little bit more to the mainstream would be something that I would really like. And I could see the game going really far with an update like that. So yeah, that's mine.
It's kind of a trope in the marketing department. Like Julian was crying about this all the time as well.
Well,
please make the game look nicer. How am I supposed to sell this?
The user interface. I'm still super new to the game, so I can't really go into detail. But I like the tutorial so far, like with the videos. And so if there's anything that will be expanded, maybe then I'm definitely grateful for that. But yeah, that would be my most important thing for now, just getting into the game and expanding on that. Hope that answers the question a bit.
Yeah. Somebody else asked, will there be a universe reset on Steam release? I'm going to guess the answer is no, but
the answer is no.
I have to correct Michi. The answer to that is always we don't give an answer.
That's true.
Like we don't comment. We don't comment on the protocol.
Yeah, you broke the code. If it happens, it is unrelated to the Steam release. That would be
just an unhappy coincidence. Oopsie.
That means Michi broke the event system.
Yes.
That's
It would of course be Michi, yes, because I'm mostly working on other stuff now. So if something goes wrong, it is by default Michi's fault.
No pressure though.
Fabian does development too.
Oh yes.
That's also a new thing that happened in 2021. Fabian started to submit some code, which is nice. I liked it. Trust me anymore. Trust me.
So I guess my question here is, if you could join any corporation in the game currently, other than Apex Operations, which would it be?
I'm so super new, but you pronounced Fio so nicely, so I'm probably inclined to join that corporation.
None.
I think it would be one of the corporations that are participating in the faction expansion challenge, because that sounds really interesting. If I had more time to play the game, I am playing the game, but not as much as I wish I could. I would love to join a company that's trying to settle new worlds out there.
Yeah, I'm a loner. I have to refer to this meme that was posted on Discord the other day, I think. I gotta be a farmer somewhere. It's not much, but it's honest work. I don't need a corporation for that, you know. It's like, I have my 2 queues. They produce, I don't know, beans or something. That's pretty much it. That's just me.
Very much.
Well, I don't want to play favorites either, but I mean, I'm already in the GDP Discord group, so I guess I have favorites. Sorry.
I'll allow it.
I don't know. I don't know if that goes against company impartial. How is that a word?
Impartiality.
Impartiality rules or something, because GDP is kind of
The
quite opinionated to be in that corporation, Nick.
I'm sorry they invited me.
Oh, so that's how easy you become a spy.
I know.
I see. Interesting.
So easy to buy my loyalty. Just send me an invitation. Okay.
I have to cut down on my nondescript drink. This is not.
Oh, you finished it.
It's not suspicious at all.
It's close to a Christmas party that we get this year.
No.
True.
COVID going on, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I guess Mope did officially join GDP Last Galaxy. Yes, he did. I remember to fix the the governor issue.
Yeah. It was work. Yeah, it was. Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess my last question for you guys that I told you ahead of time is what part of your role is the most difficult or the most aggravating? And I guess that goes for all of you.
Which part of which
Start.
like which part of our jobs you mean?
Yeah. I know. I imagine for Martin, it's going to be the whole, doing management things, or
Accounting.
I imagine doing all of the money issues and or applying for government grants has got to be a pain. Like, yeah.
In Germany especially, my goodness,
Oh, yeah.
paperwork.
I wouldn't go that far. Like I bitch a lot about Germany. I do, for good reasons in my opinion. But fun story. So here's a bit of a detour. Germany is all about, everyone always says German efficiency, right? But that's obviously a myth. But there is something like German, we call that order, or like everything has to be orderly, which basically translates to, if you do something the right way, you can kind of expect a certain outcome. So, like in a funding application like this, right? If you fill the forms correctly and you state all the things that you want to hear, then there is very little chance for surprises. So that is kind of a thing. So actually, now that this was for Allianz, this was my second funding application, I have to give them that went fairly well. Like at the end of the day, the reason it took a little bit longer than we would have hoped was basically due to formal errors on my side. So but it's not actually that bad, especially if you take into account how much you get for it. So quite grateful for that funding, to be honest. But yeah, you're right. The administrative side of things is a bit of an annoying necessity. Like, I would love to do more development. I would love to do more development for the actual game and not just backend. I mean, I enjoy the backend work, but it's obviously not quite the same as developing on the game itself. But yeah, biggest underlying issue to all of this is just lack of time. To me, it feels like I just don't have time for all the things that I have to do. So that I would say is the biggest downside to my role. So.
I totally understand that.
Multitasking.
Multitasking for you, Leo? Okay, Nick?
Also, for me not.
sorry.
For me it's probably...
multitasking. He's like,
yeah, I'm struggling. No, for me it's probably, as I said, getting into the games and, aggravating, I think. Yeah, when I don't understand something, but I think I'm learning as I go. And as far as the community goes, I think they all look very supportive and nice, so no complaints there.
For me, it's like a double-edged sword, the influencer marketing, because it's really great like when you get a good one and you see a lot of new people coming in and the video turns out great, so you're happy with the work that came out of it. But at the same time, I've worked with some really bad influencers, to be honest, and not any of the current ones that have come out, so thankfully, but yeah, it can be very frustrating when you've discussed for a long time about what kind of content you want and how it should be, and then the person just completely ghosts you, And I'm just like, well, what was all that for? Like, why did we even have a discussion, you know? So yeah, that can be frustrating. But yeah, like it can be, it's like my nemesis and also like my favorite thing to do. So it's like a bit of like, yeah, like I said, like a double-edged sword. Like I like it, but then sometimes it can be very, very frustrating. So.
I start with the thing I like most, and that is taking a fresh and new game design document from Fabian and translate it into code. That's creating something new out of nothing is, for me, is the most fun thing, because it's the fastest way to, for me at least, to see something new come to life. And the second best thing is using existing code to change a feature, for example, or iterate on it. That's also fun, but what I really hate is finding bugs. I know some developers really like that because it's very rewarding if you finally fix a bug or understand why it happens. But for me, it's, I don't know, maybe I'm not planning enough for that, but for example, creating enough tickets to actually look after bugs or so, or make the time for it. But usually, I think that, I don't know, it just sucks because it's unclear how long it will take, for example. It's really hard if you have a bug description and maybe some helpful player who can replicate it. That's always the best. Then it's okay-ish, but if we do have some bugs that are very spontaneous in nature, Heisen bugs, so to speak, and I don't like that very much.
I can speak from personal experience. I've had to attempt to track down several bugs over that required 2+ years to track down. So I know how that is, especially Heisen bugs. Yeah. For those that aren't aware, a Heisen bug is a bug that when you look at it, you can't reproduce it, but if you're not looking for it, it happens all the time. And that usually is because of timing issues.
Shared mutable state.
Or that, yeah.
Yes. Or that, yes. Lots of technical terms here.
Root of all evil.
Yeah. I know there was a few questions from the chat. You want me to ask those? I guess I can jump right in. Have you ever thought about incorporating some of the features from FIO into the game, like the consumables burn rate, overview, or planet search? I know that the planet search is actually live on the staging server, I believe. So, but the burn rate, I don't know if that has ever come up.
I think Fabian and I talked about it and we liked the concept, but we haven't had any time to actually put that into a game design. But I would love to see that. For example, so basically, if I remember correctly, it's just telling you how much you have, or at what rate you burn through your consumables, for example, right?
Yeah.
And then can estimate how long they will last. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like a really good feature.
At the same time, it might be something that I'm not supposed to say that might be obsolete at some point. Possibly, maybe in a faraway future.
Maybe in a faraway future.
Then again, any future is kind of far away with us.
How very cryptic.
Far away.
I mean, now that we have released the Steam thing, we have to build up some new mystery. So I'm just starting right here.
Someone asked how the map updates, or are there any more map updates coming?
Yeah, I deployed the map update to our test server. Everyone with a perk can access the test server and have a look. I think there's still 1 or 2 issues left with it. But as I wrote in the last devlog, we are quite happy with it, and we want to deploy it early next year to let everyone have a look. And not all the features are in there, but that's on purpose because I wanted to make sure that we're not recreating all the existing stuff that was there, but if it wasn't used at all. So I'm waiting for the outcry of the community about the missing features, and then we'll decide what we'll implement.
Someone also asked about the push-up challenge, if I may throw that in. Your 2021 push-up challenge, how that went.
Let me check.
Personally, that did not go well for me. So
At least you tried. I mean, I didn't even know that existed.
I got up to 50 push-ups and 100 sit-ups a day, and then
That's great.
and then I stopped because of various life issues. So.
Yeah.
I'm at 0, so if that makes you feel any better.
That's
like 0 push-ups, 2 kids.
I have 2
There you
kids
go.
as well.
That evens
Yeah.
out. Definitely evens out the
What?
100. No,
So I tried to do 20,000 push-ups. That's level 2 in the Prodigy sheet. Did he create the sheet? He did,
Yes.
right?
Wait, there's a
and-
sheet?
Yeah,
There's
there's
a
a sheet,
Lena,
of course.
I have to explain something to you, Lena. Of course there's a spreadsheet.
Of course
It's
there is a
always a
sheet.
spreadsheet.
If it exists, there's a sheet, yeah.
Yeah.
If you can think about it, there's a spreadsheet or something like that.
Yeah.
It's-
And I have around 5K outstanding push-ups, so I'm not gonna make it. But
You got
still,
time. You got a few days. You got this.
9 more days. come
Yes.
only 5,000 bucks.
No pressure at all.
Let's go to you. Said that the map update should make me happy. Yes, the map update makes me very happy. I've been bugging Miki, I don't know, for months about every call we have. I'm like, so those maps, are they coming? So, yes, I am very happy about them. And they look great.
Maybe to just throw in one more tidbit about the whole map design, general design and visual aspect that Vic has been referring to, and Michi has been working on the map overhaul. So this whole topic of making the game look nice is kind of high on our priority list, but pretty low on the resource list. So it's we are continuously looking into that topic right now and going forward. So I kind of hope that during next year, especially if the humongous, unbelievable amounts of revenue from Steam come in, we are going to have more means of kind of investing into the looks. And then of course, giving the maps also not just a functional makeover, but also kind of make them look even cooler, like play around with shaders and stuff. All this new fancy stuff that exists.
Yeah.
Shaders, new fancy. Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Of course, at least.
It's like what the kids do these days, right?
Mhm.
That's with their cigarettes and rap music.
And they're shady.
Yes.
It's really shady.
Okay.
And
Saginaw.
George is,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead,
And
Miki.
George is asking, wait, the devs don't use FIO when playing? Yes, of course not. If I would use the extension, then I wouldn't see the game as a regular player, and then I would probably miss some user experience lags, and I don't know what. So yeah, we don't play, or at least I don't.
That is the reason why we have 0 user experience problems in the game. Like it's absolutely
Zero,
flawless user experience.
Martin, it is really hard to tell if you're being sarcastic or not sometimes.
Maybe, why not both?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's.
No, I get it.
I get that a lot. I should not down talk my own game like this, but I'm an honest type of person. That's kind of why we make the games we make, right?
I will say this as also a game dev. When you work on your game for long enough time, you hate it, and it's not that you hate playing it as you don't play it as much effectively. I know there are exceptions to that, but that's how it's been for me. So
Totally. Sadly, so.
Yes. Probably notice everything that's going wrong. Can't focus on the real gameplay.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bit worse for Allenson actually, because Allenson has a big simulation aspect in it. So a lot of stuff is actually driven by game logic or something that the game does. Like Prosperous Universe is much more sandboxy than Allenson is. So a lot of the things that happen in the game are actually driven by players. So there's more it's a bit more interesting from a developer's perspective, I guess. But for airlines, we just know how the sausage is made, right? So after some time, it's just not. There's, if you know how it works internally, you know where the passengers come from, for example. Then
know all the secrets.
It's something that you might lose interest in after 20 years. So totally, what Saganaki said, definitely true.
Yeah. Somebody was asking what, I guess Taiyu was asking, what are you considering for making the game more visually attractive? I presume he means what else are you considering for making the game more visually attractive?
I don't know. I mean, it's actually a very good question with a probably complex answer, I guess, because the way the game looks like right now is technically coder art, because Michi and I came up with that, and we're both not artists by any means. And we had several years back, we were actually in contact with a fake UI designer, so someone who basically designs fake UIs for movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And he was working on a few designs for us. And basically, in one of the first conversations we had with him, he kind of asked the question, it looks very good, but what do you want to change, really? And I think that's a really hard question, because I think from a usability point of view, how the interface works, I think it's pretty close to what we want, I would say. But the way it looks is somehow unsatisfying. Like, if you look at the screenshot and you look at it, you think, okay, it looks kind of, I don't know. Michi, do you know an adjective to describe what our user interface looks like?
Utilitarian, maybe.
Yeah, very basic, very coder arty. I don't know.
Oh.
So if we were to change anything about it, we would have someone make it look nicer without actually changing its functionality, which is quite the challenge, I think. So that's maybe also one of the reasons why it hasn't happened yet, because we still need to find the right person for that kind of task, really.
Right.
Yeah. I can't really describe how to change it to make it more attractive, but it has to be a bit more vibrant, a bit more sci-fi, but not going overboard with it. We can't just add, I don't know, like in these fake UIs you see in the movies, just some techno bubble that won't work. We need every space we have to squish in all the information that the players want. So the options are limited, really. But I think, for example, company logos could be a thing to make it more lively. Or, for example, 3 or 4 years ago, when we talked about a 3D editor for the spaceships, that would make it more interesting, and we could also show the renders of the ships in their profiles, for example. And I think everything that makes the game a bit more lively will also improve the UI in a way. That's just how I feel about it.
Someone says he'd love to see more of the concept art included in the game, but
that is a very tricky bit. Like, it's just not something that makes a lot of sense given the lore and the background story and what the interface is supposed to do. I mean, we were talking to an artist the other day whose work you're actually going to see soon. And he tried the game and he looked into it and said, I would love to see my planet. I want to see what it looks like. Like, I just see this little information window with hard, cold facts about the planet, but I don't see what it looks like. I want to see what it looks like. And I remember that Michi and I had this discussion very, very early on when we discussed about the game, about what the map should look like and whether they should kind of, for example, the background of the stars. Like, we were thinking about having a kind of a, what's it called in 3D games, the skybox. Like, basically a skybox with a universe or galaxy background or whatever, because that would look nice. But we decided against it because we said Apex is a very utilitarian. It's a tool, right, that someone uses, and everything that you would see in it would be schematic. So you would not see what the galaxy looks like in the background. You would only see the stars, and you would see the connections, and you would see overlays for certain bits of information. So, and that kind of is that makes it a bit hard for us to make this stuff look cool and look interesting, because that is kind of the premise, the lore of Apex, really. So yeah, getting the concept art into the game is really, really hard. Like I just don't see how we would do that. Like we could maybe have a CCTV tile that allows you to monitor your production floor, and then you have
that sounds good.
You have a view on your base where you see your little minions walking around.
Place them around.
That's a problem. What if they don't have overalls or like that? We can't do that.
No, yes, true. Anyway, so you see your starving population without clothes. Actually, they have a new overall every day. I don't know what to do with their clothing. How can someone use that much clothing? Jesus. Anyway, so all of these ways of getting the concept out into the game are very kind of artificial. So I don't see it happening.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Which does not say. I'm not saying it can never happen. Like, especially seeing your planet, I could imagine various ways of accomplishing that in some way or form. But
did someone say metaverse?
Metaverse, yes. Right after our NFT project.
Oh yes.
By the way, just for the record, if anyone ever hears me talking about issuing NFTs or anything, then I have been kidnapped, and this is my
blink twice if you're fine. Someone says Prosperous Universe VR in 2025. What are we?
Because I'm not that person doing it. If anything, 2030. You know, if I say shaders is new stuff right now, then you can imagine what VR is. How long you have to wait for that. Actually, I'm going to hand over to Michi. I'm not going to say anything for 5 minutes.
What?
I just realized there was a question I forgot to ask you guys.
Shoot.
Mostly for Michi, I believe. But are there any lessons learned from the current universe design?
Oh yes. Fabian and I Fabian started to document every time. I said, hey, for the next universe we have to think about this and that, and so we created not a spreadsheet but a document for it, a text document, and it has quite a few things on it. So one of the things we already started on, but it didn't materialize for this universe, is the new world editor. We have a new concept, but couldn't finish it for the start of this universe. So that would make the creation of the universe a bit easier for us, and it would also be easier to create custom areas. For example, right now the areas you see that are farther out are purely randomly generated, and there are a couple of rules in the editor. For example, that some or certain resources or resource concentrations are higher on the outer regions of the map and lower on the inside to facilitate that players move outwards. But that doesn't work as well as we intended, and that's one of the big things that we want to change. So I imagine that we could have a function in the map editor that would allow us to point and click on a certain area on outside of the faction space, and just tell the editor to create a bit nicer environment there, a few more livable planets, that can form as natural hubs for future migration or all kinds of operations, basically, because right now they are just randomly generated. And that way we would make it easier and a bit more, take a bit more out of the random generator into our own being able to design the map a bit better. And then hand in hand with that goes that we want to reduce the starting resources or the resource concentrations on the starting worlds and the plans around and systems around to make it more interesting to actually go somewhere else. So basically nerfing the starting plans, because right now best planet for farming is Prometheus, and that kind of sucks.
I thought Saladin was a little bit better.
Oh,
but,
yeah, Saladin.
But yeah, that's the exception.
You get the drift, yeah.
Yes, I do.
Then there are other ideas, like, for example, making gas giants more diverse, because right now 90% of them are just cold. Then obviously the material tree will see some changes in the next universe. For example, we want to make split the basic materials plant into 2 buildings and maybe create a T1 chemistry building. Lots of these things have been brought to us by players, by the way. So it's not that not everything. We didn't come up with everything. So player input is very, very valuable, and we take it seriously. Yeah, stuff like that. What else is there? I'm just looking at the document.
I mean, that was very interesting to hear.
Yeah. And there's some discussions, I won't say that we do it, but or some ideas, but that are very, very interesting. For example, we couldn't, for example, or we could forbid to create bases on gas giants, or make them in a way that they can only host a couple of buildings, and actually tapping into the resources of a gas giant would, for example, require a drone operation or something like that. So in a way, or that way, gas giants wouldn't work as normal planets, make it a bit more interesting or maybe even realistic.
Cool. I know this was a question that came earlier, but somebody asked, with the Steam release, are you planning to also include the ghost plot feature, which would allow new players to basically start on full planets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We haven't implemented it yet, but it's designed, and yeah, that's basically the way it works. If a planet is full and there are no plots available, we kind of have to have a place where we allow new players to start out. And in the last wave, we just created a couple of more starting locations for players, but obviously they are not as good as the ones that are already full. So we don't want to make the game harder for players that join later by just giving them a worse starting location. So the idea is to let them start at everywhere where they want, even though the planet might not be full. And if in the end, if a plot gets freed up by another player leaving the planet or leaving the game, then they will get the plot. There will be a waiting list there. But they can create a base like anyone else.
Gotcha.
There's lots of more questions coming in the chat.
Is the new universe generator ready for next release? And it looks like, based on what you said earlier, no.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. What is the expected lifetime of this universe? Last universe was expected to live for 6 months, for example, and I think Martin alluded to that earlier, which is they never announce when they're going to reset.
Oh, I think 5 minutes. Oh, Martin, you're allowed to talk now.
Oh yes. There's no plans. So I mean, with the previous universe, we kind of had certain expectations how long we wanted it to take, and then it just didn't happen. With this universe, I think we haven't even set an life expectancy or anything, because I mean, we are at this. I mean, that's why we're in early access, right? We are at a point where we think the core of the game is there. We are. I mean, I'm not saying we're working on details, but it's not like we have to iterate main features of the game, which we did early when we had the alphas and had resets rather frequently, because we changed very important aspects of the game. So this is not something that we're doing right now. That said, obviously, if we actually introduce a massive change, so if we introduce a change, say, that makes having to supply your workforces obsolete, that would obviously be a feature that we would most likely introduce with a reset. So any sort of reset would definitely be driven by the feature that requires it. But I don't see us just resetting for the sake of resetting. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we're going to work on these performance optimizations that we talked about earlier kind of already hints towards us kind of being prepared for this to take longer and kind of go on for a while.
Someone asked us what is our favorite Christmas song, just to totally change the subject onto something completely different.
That was a good question.
Does
The
it-
same Mariah Carey.
It's a good one. I mean, it's like top charts every year.
And
She-
it's a meme somehow.
She
yeah.
owns the Christmas season, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess I'd go with Last Christmas. I don't know. I always like that song.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Mm.
I'm torn between the two.
I don't say I have a favorite.
Yeah, I knew Martin. I could
Me
tell
too.
by the look on his face. Like,
I think my answer to that is Winter Wonderland, and the reason is because it's in Die Hard.
Oh,
Mm.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
you know that song.
making it nerdy. We have a coffee house Christmas playlist that we like to listen to on Spotify when we do stuff on Christmas weekends, but that's about it,
Always good. Spotify playlist.
I think. Nondescript Christmas music.
I
This is
mean-
nondescript as my anti-print.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Well, I've been looking for a segue to say this, but it's not really appearing. I don't know how I would actually get a segue for this, but I talked about it in a couple of dev vlogs ago about our little merchandise store. It's like we're doing on Spreadshop, and we've got it sort of configured, so you can take a look. I'm gonna paste it in the chat. It's gonna be like a UK address, but hopefully it works for everybody. Let me know if there's any problems with the people in the US. But yeah, you can see some cool stuff. So if you want to get yourself or your loved ones a Christmas present, it may not be there before Christmas because we're running a little like short on time. But yeah, there's lots of prune swag, t-shirts and stickers and bags and mugs and aprons and all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah, I think maybe you guys would really enjoy some of this stuff. And there are some spoilers in there too. We haven't shown you all our patch designs yet, but they may be in there. So have fun looking
Yeah.
around.
Since
Okay,
there I
good.
was as a non-native speaker and thinking, why does Nick talk about segways? What's up with
like-
segways?
Yeah, I saw your reaction. I saw your reaction. And you were like, "What?"
Okay. No, it was a pure language thing. For me, segways is those weird.
Yeah,
stuff,
it's a
Yeah.
Never used
kind of
it.
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, transition, I guess, is the other way to say it. But anyway.
See.
Are you thinking of a Prosperous Universe Christmas jumper? That's a good question. I mean,
The fact that they're
let's
sorry,
go.
the fact that baby bodysuits, there's baby clothing is amazing. I might pictures.
Battle race the
opted-
babies.
I think I said I want to have that, so that might be.
But it's only the Antares initiative. Why?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I can fix it. Don't worry. Tell me which one you want. I'll fix it.
No. Nice. Good one, Nick. Place that one as well. So, just more revenue, right?
Yes. Please spend.
Nice. I don't think we're not basing the success of the company on this store, but obviously it would be nice if a few people bought something. I mean, if there's ever a real life meetup for Prosperous Universe, which I really hope is in the future, like me too. It's been a staple for airlines, and obviously hasn't been a thing for the past 2 years due to COVID. But I would really love to that become a thing for Prosperous Universe as well. I would really love for this to become a thing for Prosperous Universe as well at some point. So, and then obviously you need to be dressed for the occasion.
Definitely.
Especially the babies. Family friendly event. Bring your kids.
Yeah. Someone
you gotta
asked,
race them right.
Yeah, but until then, we have some time to work on our fun style jumpsuits.
Yeah, the jumpsuits.
Gathering.
Like that was the question, right? I actually have no idea. Like when I was looking for this beautiful specimen, I kind of got the impression that producing an actual jumper is quite the big deal. So like if it's actually knitted or woven or whatever it is, I don't know. It's not something that you just like. You can get your logo printed on anything, but if you actually want to have your own design as a proper piece of woven fabric, I think that's a whole different story. So as much as I would love to have something like that, I cannot imagine this to work without going to some Chinese manufacturer and setting up an actual production.
Find someone who's doing cosplay.
Oh.
And then they're gonna do this by hand, one by one.
Yeah, I mean, how many do we need?
Limited edition.
Are we talking just about the team or everyone?
No, I think the community is craving for these things. So
I'm with Martin.
you see.
No, okay.
Someone asked if these were the official what are the faction patches, and yes, they are the official ones. Yeah, just to clear that up.
Maybe a little bit of background on those. Actually, are we allowed to say that? But I think so. So the mission patches serve two purposes. One is that obviously we want to we talked about getting art into the game a little bit more. And the mission patches the idea is that we're going to have a new sign-up process at some point where you kind of pick your faction and then you will see the mission patch as a little visual thing. You'll also see that the mission patches all have distinct colors. So the colors that Michi has now put into the maps, into the reworked ones, they already correspond with these, or with the colors of the patches. So that's the one thing. And then they might or might not be in the goodie bags that come with your support quarter packs as actual physical patches. So yes.
Yes, stay tuned. Okay, we are coming up on an hour and a half. Does anyone have anything else they would like to talk about or reveal or anything of the sort?
Another reveal.
How many projects and one more thing? There's just one more thing.
What's in your glass, Martin? Reveal it.
Pretty much nothing. This glass is the reason why we should probably stop. I mean, I think we can take one more question from the community, and then I think it's
One last question.
make it count, people. Lena gets to pick it.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, the
Yeah.
responsibility. Okay. I'm gonna give them a second, maybe.
Yeah, give them 25 seconds.
Yes. We're gonna play the Jeopardy music. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit.
No more questions. We've satisfied them.
Yeah,
I think it's
that's
gonna
good.
it's gonna take them a little bit to hear us and then type
Yeah, the
something.
delay, actually.
Mhm.
True.
Okay, someone asks, modular ships will be an option, question mark.
I don't get the question. Ships are modular.
I guess I can
Modifiable.
ask it. So modular means you can. I guess I currently the ships are modular in a fashion. You can specify what type of fuel and what fuel tanks, what kind of hull. But are it replaceable or interchangeable or upgradable?
Customized,
I
right?
think customizable.
They are not yet, and I can't speak for Fabian, but talking about making them updatable in the future, but there are no concrete plans yet for that. But it would make sense in a way. I mean, some things you might change. I wouldn't go for a system where you can change it in any way you want, because you can't do that with a car, for example. You can't make a car into a truck, for example. But you can modify existing vehicles, of course. Yeah.
And there is, of course, still the idea of having the visual editor in the game at some point down the road. So if that is what they mean by modular, then that is still definitely something that we still want to do at some point.
Yeah.
With shaders and all. Yes. There shall be shaders.
Oh, yes.
And going back to the holiday theme, does anyone have any New Year's resolutions? Something that you want to accomplish in 2022?
Except for the push-up challenge, which is a given.
Yeah, of course, the push-up challenge. It's like everyone has to do it.
I don't know. I'm looking it up right now.
I can't really even think about it because it's just past 2 years have been crazy, especially with 2 kids. Trying to keep them occupied, it's like Martin. I mean, you guys know what it's like. It's like impossible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the push-up challenge is a given. I have to resume that. But yeah, I guess I have quite a few plans for FIO stuff, but just improvements across the board.
No, that sounds good.
I mean, my New Year's resolution is going to be the same as this year: 5,120 times 1,440. 1,440. Thanks. My New Year's resolution is going to. Jeez.
Oh, the resolution.
Sounds like
Okay,
it's expensive.
got it.
It's really hard.
Too late. We should probably stop.
Too late.
No.
If you had said 1080p, I would have gotten it. But
Hmm?
if you had said like 1080p, I would have gotten it. But
No, I have a bit of a weird resolution on that one.
yeah.
Like the team knows, they've seen it.
I was
But,
wondering. You said look it up, and I was like, why does he have to look up his New Year's resolution?
Yeah, but that also, like, I have a long list now, actually. I don't know, I don't have a New Year's resolution, really. Like, I don't know, professionally, kind of continue on a trajectory that we're on, basically, with the games, plural.
Someone wrote, what a dad joke.
I am a dad. I'm
He
allowed
is
to
a dad.
make
Yeah.
dad jokes. Yes. Very good.
Yeah.
So
You have to.
let's see what's happening next year.
Let's hire a new developer next year. So I'm not alone anymore.
You're not alone, Michi. That sounds so sad. You have Fabian.
Yeah, you have
You said
Fabian.
earlier Fabian is a developer now, technically. So
Yeah, that's true.
he's a junior. You're a senior.
Aren't we all developing in a sense?
I mean, that's what I mean by continuing on the trajectory. Like, obviously, I would love to hire more people. I would love to expand the team, especially in the development, and as I said earlier, in the graphics or visual department. That would be amazing to have the resources to hire more people to get more stuff done. But as someone just told me the other day on another Christmas party, everything really depends on revenue. Revenue is the thing that pays for everything. If you don't have the revenue, you don't have anything else. So that is the, in a sense, that is kind of my New Year's resolution. As boring and as businessy and as technical as it sounds, but getting the revenue up is the top priority, while not kind of sacrificing our vision and our values, basically. So,
Wow, talking about the business in the beginning and the live stream. Perfect.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Yin and yang.
Oh yes.
It wasn't even intentional, was it? Yeah, but I think we haven't talked about everyone's New Year's resolutions.
Oh, we didn't. I forgot. Mine's German. It's been German for the last 4 years, so I'm not adding anything spicy to 2022. But yeah, it's definitely for both personally and professionally. It's something that has to get done. I made a few better strides, I think, in 2021 than in previous years. Yeah, so I can understand a lot. I don't know, I'm probably going like way into too much detail for people that don't maybe care about languages, but yeah, it's a thing. I have to learn it, and I will learn it. So, yes.
Yes, do it.
Du schaffst das schon.
Du schaffst das.
Deutsch ist so einfach, viel einfacher als Englisch.
Ja, viel einfacher. Ja.
I got it.
Die Verben lernen sich quasi von alleine. Überhaupt kein Problem. Okay, back to English. Make it weird.
I don't have anything. I want to draw more. That's it. Not really settling on anything.
That's good.
Yes.
That would be a good.
We're just
New
waiting
Year's
on Nietzsche
resolution.
now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about New Year's resolutions. I haven't thought about them yet, so this is really on the spot. So Martin has had a revelation, development, attitude or skill, I don't know how to call it, but he progressed quite a bit this year. And yeah, I mean, it is quite impressive. And I want to get there too next year. I mean, he told me all the secrets, so just needs a bit more effort on my side.
Just for the record, we're not a cult. Everything is okay.
No worries.
I don't know what he's talking about. I do know what he's talking about.
You know what?
I'm just picturing you guys with an open webpage to sheets.google.com, just kind of bowing over and over again.
Oh, hail the mighty spreadsheet. Definitely not fun.
Yeah, every Monday.
That,
2 o'clock.
let's just keep that thing on our notes for the next live stream. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit more, because I get that a lot of people in the community apparently are very interested in software development for some reason. So gladly talk about that again then in this next live stream, whenever that's going to be. But I think 1.5 hours is a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We had a really good time. Thank you, Saganaki, for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we wish everyone happy holidays. Hope you have a good time with your family. Stay safe, and we'll see you all again in 2022.
Happy holidays.
Have a good one. Happy
Bye.
holidays.
See you guys.
Bye bye.